Hi guys, this is Tina from Shabbydabbydoodah. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm super excited to come along and have a play. I recently saw Barbara over at 49Dragonflies, her video of pimping up your coffee dyed papers, and I couldn't wait to have a play. Felt very inspired by her video. So if you haven't seen that, do go over and check it out. And of course I will try and remember to put the link in the video below. So this was the play that I've had so far, trying to not necessarily copy what she's done, but, you know, just drawing inspiration from what she had been doing with her coffee dyed papers. And I had such an awesome time, I must say. I just thoroughly enjoyed doing this. So I thought that I would switch the camera on and come along and do some bits with you here. So I'll just kind of tell you basically what I've done here. So this was just some you know, 12 by 12 scrap bit paper, the back of a sheet that I wasn't particularly going to be using. And I've just literally sprayed it with coffee dye all over to get the base going. And then what I did, I went over with my stencil and I used some patina here to actually get the stencil kind of going. This was my first attempt, and as you can see, pretty splotchy in places. You know, not that I really minded that, to be honest. And then I just dabbed on with a sponge some touches of alcohol inks in metallic gold. I think that was all I did with this, but I love how it turned out. So I'm just going to put that to one side. And then I did a similar with this, which is my food coloured papers. So kind of veering away from the coffee dyed papers to using those blue food coloured papers now. And again, used kind of the same type of colours and things on this. I have to say this is my least favourite out of all the ones that I did, but I'm hoping that when I come to use it, it would still, you know, look good. And then I did this one, which I love how this looks so much. So this was actually on a kind of orangey yellow food colour paper. It's very pale, and I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but it's just got the slight hint of an orangey yellow. It's really not very coloured at all. But I did exactly the same, and I sploshed on some coffee and what have you. And then instead of the patinas here for the stenciling, I used some StazOn. So I just dipped a sponge into the StazOn ink pad and just kind of rubbed that around. And I went for the StazOn instead of the Distress Inks ink pads because I just wanted a slightly more vibrant, yeah, kind of deeper sort of coloration to it. And then again, I don't know if the camera's picking it up really, I hope it is. I just went around with a sponge and some more metallic ink effect. And then the final piece that I did, and this one's my favourite, and I've already started laying some bits on it to come along and make some bits from this actually. So this was again another one of the blue food colour papers, and what I did, I've stamped on some pieces with my, if I just pull it in, Memento Toffee Crunch ink pad. So that's what the stamping all is. And then I've gone over with again some coffee spray, you know, from my little sprayer bottle of just some coffee mixture there. And then I've just decoupaged on, just in a couple of random places, just some bits of napkin on there. And how gorgeous does that look? I really love it. So yes, I've switched the camera on and I thought let's come along and have a bit of a play, you know, with you guys and see what we can do. So I'm just going to grab a piece of paper in. Okay. So this has been freshly food colour dyed, but as you can see, probably it's not been ironed or anything like that so far. And yeah, probably should have ironed it really. So again, what I'm going to do, because I was really happy with the look of the StazOn, so I'm going to just pull in a couple of StazOn ink pads, and actually let's pull in, you know, a couple of different colours so that we get a very different look to that first piece. So just grabbing them from my little shelf above me. So fingers crossed I'm not going to knock it all down. Everything's piled pretty tightly on there. So yeah, just kind of try and keep everything on the shelf as much as I can. Okay, so I've got the browns, which I love, you know, love the shades of brown. And I might mix them with some fuchsia pink. So I've got some stencils here. So, and again, these are some that I've cut down in a previous video. I cut them down because I thought perhaps they would be easier to, you know, to actually use them. Okay, so I'm going to start, I think with the, I think with the saddle brown actually. I've tried to be a bit more organised because I've still got a blob of green on my fingers there from the other day. So yeah, I've tried to be a little bit neater here and bring a glove along. So I'm still using these massive great big gloves, so please do excuse the gloves. I've said this before, but they were all I could get hold of at the time from Amazon. They were all they had was these massive ones, and I'm sure probably they now have some more in stock, you know, that would be a much tighter fitting glove. And of course I should go on and have a look and see if I can get some more. But you know, I've got these now, so of course I don't want to waste them, so I will just use them. But yeah, they are pretty huge, so please excuse the size of my glove. Okay, so I'm just kind of going absolutely just in random, you know, random places here with the brown stays on. And like here, I've got around the edge. It doesn't matter at all. And actually, I should probably try and do some close to the edge of the paper because, you know, I've noticed from the others, there's a tendency to have it all in the middle. And of course, if you buy papers, it's not like that. You'd have pieces or, you know, sections of the pattern maybe overhanging the paper and things like that. So yeah, I want to kind of get that effect as if there's some, you know, going off of the page in places. So yep, we'll just kind of get those on. So that looks really, really nice, doesn't it? I mean, I love how it looks already, to be honest, without even adding anything else. So let's go in with our saddle brown now, which, you know, hopefully is going to look quite a bit darker. And I'll go in with a different pattern for this one. So I'm just going to turn this is just a makeup sponge, and I've had these, you know, in my stash for a really long time. So I'm just applying the stencil with the makeup sponge. And again, you know, I don't want to be too, you know, overthinking how I'm putting the pattern on. I just want really random effects. You know, I find as soon as I start overthinking, actually, that's when it's all going to just go, you know, go to pot really and not work out very well. So, oops. Just dropped it on the floor. So I'll just turn the piece of paper around so that hopefully it's a bit easier on camera. Okay. Like that. I mean, I have to say I'm actually really loving this without any other colour. So perhaps I might have to do a second one and add the pink, but then have this one just keeping it predominantly brown. Yeah, predominantly browns. Let's do that because I mean, it's come to that stage where now I'm wanting to obviously hoard it, you know, like I do, because it looked really, really nice. Much nicer than I'd anticipated, actually. So yeah, I didn't want to then spoil it by adding another colour. So again, just going to go round, just still using that timber brown. And, you know, I've talked before, I love the Stays On ink pads. I know they're not everybody's cup of tea. You know, I've heard lots of people say that they eat into their stamps and things like that and, you know, cause problems. I mean, personally, I haven't ever experienced that. Yeah, I don't know what period of time we're talking, you know, whether it's a really, really long time or something. I don't know. I personally haven't ever had any problems with Stays On ink pads doing that. And to be honest, you know, I'm not somebody who looks after my stamps particularly well. I do kind of neglect them quite a fair bit. So, you know, yeah, I don't know quite why it would have affected some people's. Again, and I know I've said this before, it could even be like a temperature thing. You know, maybe if you live somewhere hot, perhaps that would affect, you know, its, I don't know, behaviour with a stamp. I don't know, to be honest. Like I say, I've never experienced any problems. And for me, the beauty of a Stays On ink pad is, you know, it's properly permanent. It's not going to smudge. I'm not going to kind of wet it when I like spray some coffee on in a minute and find it's going to smudge anywhere. It's on there. Of course, you can stamp on any surface that you like, and it gives really crisp, clear images. So, I mean, for me, they're my favourite stamp ink pads to use to stamp. I mean, obviously, they're not a distress ink pad, so they're not, you know, they're not a distressing all. But for pure stamping, I absolutely love them. And, you know, this again is probably a very extravagant way to use them, to be honest, constantly dipping my ink pad in. But as you can probably see, they're working wonders on this as well. So, you know, they're really good ink pads, I think. And they smell lovely. They smell like sweets. And yeah, again, I've heard other people say how much they dislike the smell. So, you know, I guess it's all in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? Right, so I'm just going to turn my makeup sponge around because I'm going in now with the fuchsia pink. And just going to kind of have some fusion-y type bits going on here. Like that. Oh my goodness, how pretty is that? Yeah, loving, loving, loving that pink on there, I must say. I mean, I'm a bit of a pink fan. Well, to be fair, I'm a bit of a, you know, colour generally fan. But yeah, how gorgeous does that pink look on there? And, you know, I have still hoarded the pure brown one as well. So, yeah, I've got that one that we can always come back to later. Okay. Just go getting some of this around, you know, maybe a bit here. Just trying to get quite a randomy effect because, yeah, it's easy to just have it all kind of clumped in the middle, like I say. So just trying to make sure I've got plenty sort of spread around. Maybe have another little bit here. Okay. Oh, how yummy does that look? Oh, it's so scrumptious. Right, okay. So let's move these to one side for a moment. Again, I mean, I probably should actually clean these with a wipe. Yeah, I mean, obviously I had only ever tried these stays on with the stencil for the first time the other day. So, but I'll just kind of wipe it. I mean, as you can probably see, it's even quite resistant, sorry, on the stencils. And they're, you know, I guess designed for being quite wipeable. But you can see, I mean, I'm having to wipe that quite a bit to get that stays on ink to come off. So, you know, it's quite resistant, to be honest. So let's just see how it comes off from this one, because this was obviously the first one. Oh, this one's coming off a lot easier, weirdly enough. Okay, right. So, yep, just making observations, really. I'm not kind of trying to make any claims because this is all new to me as well. Right, there we go. So put them to one side. Try and remember to keep my glove on. So here, this is just a mix of coffee. So I'm just going to kind of squirt some of this on. Oops. Just in one or two spots. Okay, I mean, because bearing in mind, obviously Barbara's were the coffee dyed papers, which some of mine have been, but this one is a food coloured paper. But again, because I've used those stays on inks, you know, the ink is not going to smudge now. If I'd used a distress ink pad, of course, those inks would be much more susceptible to smudging. So yeah, it's kind of worth bearing in mind. Now, I've also got here some distress spray stain. Couldn't talk then for a minute. In white. So I'm just going to kind of go in with that in a couple of places. Okay. Okie dokie. So, yeah. Perhaps I will even fold this over and kind of try and squish it down a bit. So as we get in a bit more of a... Yeah. Okay. Right. So, looking good so far. And then I'm going to take some of my alcohol inks, and again, these are the metallic alcohol inks. I've been using these quite a bit recently in some other videos. I'm loving them so much, I can't tell you. So all I'm going to do is just give it a shake, because obviously it's got that ball at the bottom to mix that metallic in. Just put some onto my desk there, and then just with a sponge, just dip it in, and then just splosh that around on some random bits of the paper, like that. Okay, hopefully the camera's picking that up. It looks really pretty in the flesh. So I really hope that you can see, you know, on camera, because yeah, it looks really, really lovely. So again, just kind of go round. Oops, I just like knocked my sponge in, so I just wanted to not waste any, so I've just dabbed it on with the other end of the sponge. Okay, and I'm just using, you know, this is just like a washing up sponge that I've just chopped into a couple of different bits to use. So yeah, no special art materials going on here. Okay, so that looks really good. Again, I'm just going to actually go around the edges, because I have done exactly what I mentioned just now, where I've kind of tended to condense everything into the middle and therefore, you know, miss out my edges altogether, really. So I'm just going to go around and put just a few bits in the edge, or on the edges, like that. Okay, well, I'm loving how that looks, I must say. So I'm going to put that to one side to dry, and let's do another one. So in fact, we've still got this one, so we'll pull this one in. Now, I think what I want to do on this is I would like to do some script stamping, or actually maybe even that lovely stamp that I'm using this stamp all the time at the moment. This is that lovely stamp from 49 Market. I can't remember now where I got this from, I'm afraid. I have mentioned it in another video where I got it from, and it just has, yeah, completely slipped my mind now. So I do apologise for that. But I'm going to use, I think, the Timber Brown, because I'm trying to keep this one a bit more colourless. So just going to go in some random places and patches and just stamp this in like that. It's such a lovely stamp. Again, don't want to have kind of any particular order going on. I just want to have it very random. So, you know, try not to overthink it and just get the stamp down just in like as many random spots as possible, really. So like that. Okay. Okie dokie, looking good. Right, okay. And then what I'm going to do is, again, with this one, I mean, I have to say that Timber Brown on that stamp, it actually looks quite black, to be honest. It looks, yeah, it looks more like I've used black, but I haven't. It is the Timber Brown. And so I think what I'm going to do now is, just to finish it off, just going to do a couple of bits of the script stamp. Yeah, just wondering, do I want to do that? Yeah, we'll do that in the brown as well. So, again, I mean, it probably doesn't really matter which way up I've got this, but we'll just put it like this. I love a script stamp, to be honest. This one here is a Crafty Individuals stamp. And again, if you look up my Crafty Individuals playlist, I've got the full details of the name or the code that this stamp goes under. And it's obviously available on the Crafty Individuals website. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely love it. Isn't it just glorious? So, you know, and script stamp, it always looks good, doesn't it? Absolutely always looks good. Okay, right. Then I'm going to, again, take my, you know, coffee spray. Just get a couple of sprays of coffee in some spots there on the paper. Okay. Like that. Okay. Oh my goodness, how gorgeous is this looking? Love, love, love how this is looking, I must say. Okay, right. And then again, just going to go in with my gold alcohol ink and do just some little splashes of gold. I mean, actually, I might not, to be honest, with this one, because, yeah, I have to say, I'm quite loving this one as it is, to be honest. Yeah, perhaps we'll keep this gold free, or, you know, metallic free. Yeah, let's keep that metallic free. So I've put that one down behind me as well. Let's pull in another colour. So let's do a blue one. You know, actually, yeah, let's do a blue one. So, oh, well, it's more of a blue-green, but that's fine. Hopefully, you know, we'll have exactly the same sort of desired effect. So this one here, I'm going to go in again with the stays on. This time I'm using teal blue, so I'm just going to grab another makeup sponge, because obviously Don't want to contaminate it with my makeup sponges that I've already used. Okay. And I just bought mine, you know, years ago, as I say, but they were just from a very cheap shop over here called Primark. And I think you got like the whole bag for £1 or something, you know, crazy cheap. And there's a lot in there. So, you know, they're going to last me quite a long while. So, okay. Oh, how scrumptious does that look? I love how that looks. Okay, right. So I'm dabbing this rather than smooshing it and smudging it because I don't want to re-wet that pink and then end up with purple, really. So, yeah, and as I say, because I haven't really used the stays on with stencils before, I don't know if that's likely to happen, but I felt like it was happening slightly on here. So, yeah, just to avoid that, I'm just kind of dabbing rather than, you know, dragging around. Okay, let's just have a couple of... And these, obviously, this area hasn't got any previous stenciling going on, so I can obviously feel free to, you know, smoosh around in there. Okie dokie. And then we'll just again try and go off the page a bit. I mean, it's very hard to kind of make a conscious effort to go off the page, I find, you know, because I think we do by nature, we're just kind of like go on the middle of the page, don't we? I mean, if you're drawing a drawing, you don't generally draw it going off the page, do you? So yeah, it's quite hard to actually make the conscious effort to actually do that, I think. Well, I find it's quite hard to. Okay, let's just pop that on in there. Right, looking good. So that looks super, super, super pretty already. Okay, now what other colour shall we do? Oh, I'm just... No, I don't really want to go with the pink. So I'm going to do some saddle brown on this again. So I've got obviously this piece that I'd already done with the saddle brown, and I'll just bring in the same stencil that I used with the saddle brown from before. Okay, so again, just want to be pretty random with how I'm doing that. Okay, like this. Oh, honestly, I've been having such a lot of fun recently with, you know, playing with mixed media and more messy kind of items. I mean, I'm very new to this type of thing. I'm normally much more of a kind of just glue and stick person. You know, getting paints and inks and all of that stuff out. I mean, you know, I didn't really even have any in the first place up until recently. I've kind of obviously bought some of those types of items. But yeah, it's a bit of a new thing for me. So I'm very much, yeah, learning, but I can't tell you how much I'm enjoying it. And I've got so many pretty papers now kind of ready to, you know, get using. So yeah, I'm really loving it. Okay, so that's that. And then I think, again, I'm just going to go with the darker brown because I think that would look really good on here. Actually, just before I do that, I'm now thinking, or do I want to go for black? What do we think? No, I think the black might just be, you know, a bit too much. Yeah, a bit too much maybe. So I'll go in with the saddle brown again. And again, I'll just use the stencil that we've already used with the saddle brown. Okay. Like that. Try and do some off the edge. Okay, over there. Oops. Let's go in here. Like that. And then we'll go around this area here. Now I'm thinking for this one, instead of doing the, you know, the splotches of the gold with the alcohol inks, I'm going to pull in some of my patina, you know, bottles. and I think do it with those instead, because I think that would look really nice. So yeah, let's kind of do that. Okay. Okie dokie. So yeah, loving how that looks. I might just quickly do a little bit in here actually. Kind of, yeah, just to break up that big expanse of the blue. Okie dokie. Right. So that's that. And then pop that out of the way. So again, I'm just going to do a little bit of spraying with my coffee dye. As you can see, I'm nearly out of coffee now from this mixture, because obviously I've been playing around with this so much. Yeah, I should have made more. And now I've actually run out of coffee downstairs as well, which is pretty annoying. So I'm going to have to go to the shop before I can even make any more. Could use tea. I mean, personally, I don't really tend to use tea very much, tea dye. I have used it occasionally in the past. I mean, I'm a tea drinker, so, you know, for me, tea is much more convenient because, of course, I'm drinking it all the time. But I find tea is much more orange, you know, whereas the coffee, it's got a lovely rich brown kind of colour to it. But yeah, I mean, I've seen other people using tea stained papers instead of coffee, and actually it looks great. So yeah, it might just be that perhaps mine is, you know, maybe it's coming out a bit strong or something like that. I'm not sure. But, you know, again, play around. Right, so I've got some patina here, and I've got antique bronze, and I've also got antique copper. So, and again, I'm pretty sure I'm not using these in the correct way. So please don't don't tell me off. I'm, you know, I'm very much just playing, and yeah, who cares if it's not really how it's meant to be used, to be honest. You know, it's not really the end of the world, is it? So again, just going to take my sponge, and just blotch that around. I mean, you can see I've obviously had a big splosh there in the middle, which not great. In fact, I can just now mop up from that constantly, because there was so much. I wonder if I can do it with the other side. Oh my goodness, I am really making that not look very good at all. Okay, okay, this is probably another how not to do craft video now. It's turned into. Oh well, never mind. Right, so that's that big mess. I'm just going to put, so that was the antique copper. I'm just going to put some of the antique bronze now. I'll maybe use this end. Perhaps that would be a bit better. Oh dear. Well, I have a big mess going on here, but never mind. This is looking a bit like leopard print, weirdly enough now. Yeah, perhaps that wasn't such a good idea to use that side, but never mind. Right. I mean, again, to be honest, when this dries, it might look completely different anyway. Because sometimes, you know, things dry looking quite different, don't they? So, yeah, I'm not kind of going to get too worried about it, because once it's dry, it might look awesome. We live in hope. I mean, you could just say that, you know, I've ruined that completely. It was looking quite nice until a couple of minutes ago. Right, let's move that off to one side. And I think what we'll do is going to pull in this yellow sheet. So this was a sheet my daughter did. She wanted to try some yellow. And I'm going to go in with these patinas before I do anything else. So yeah, I'm just going to kind of like splodge them around like that. Okay. Like that. Okay. Okie dokie, and yep, a bit more here. I mean, you know, obviously this looks terrible. Might continue to look terrible, but I mean, all I'm trying to do is just get a bit of sort of a metallic feel going on in that background, really. And I'm hoping that obviously when I come to use this, you know, it's probably going to be torn down and what have you. You know, it's not really going to be kind of that visible, the individual sort of markings, if you see what I mean. So, and actually, I think what I'm going to do here, because I think I did mention, but I stenciled on with the patina on one of those, or a couple of those papers that I'd done previously. So let's have a go at that. And I might use the makeup sponge. That's something I didn't try previously, but let's give that a try. So let's see how this is going to look. Okay. Okay, well, it's not really that successful, I've got to be honest, but again, you know, we're just trying to get some sort of pattern going on, and, you know, once we've torn this down and we use these, I don't really think it's going to kind of matter overly much, you know. I think it will look fine. So, again, just going to go in at the sides, get some as if it's like hanging off of the edge of the page, and a bit here. Okay. And then, yeah, I mean, they look quite pretty. Again, I don't know how much the, you know, the camera is really picking this up. But they do have a metallic effect now. Okay, let's go in with the antique copper. So, sorry, the antique bronze now. So that one. Right, it's gone very splodgy, which is what happened, I think, in my original tryout, which was why I thought this was not a particularly successful way to stencil. Yeah, and obviously that was a couple of days ago now, so I'd forgotten all about that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. By the time that these are, you know, cut down and made use of, that really won't matter. You know, it's going to be all about the colour, really. And, you know, the lovely kind of, yeah, the colours and the, you know, the overall feel, rather than, I don't know, odd little sploshes and splotches that happen to be on the paper. I hope, anyway. I mean, we can't guarantee, obviously. It might still be really rubbish, but okay. Again, just kind of put just a couple at the edges, just, you know, as if it were like a more, you know, cut down piece of paper, rather than just, I've just made this, you know, and it's all just concentrated in the middle. So again, just a bit more here. Okay. Well, to be honest, I mean, although it probably looks just shockingly messy to you guys, I actually quite like it. It looks actually really nice from here. So yeah, I hope that the camera is actually picking this up and making it look quite nice. I'm sure you're probably sat there thinking, what's she talking about? That just looks horrendous. But no, I actually quite like it. Right, okay, so that's those bits. And I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to stamp on with some black stays on now. Yeah, I'm going to stamp on some black stays on. Just randomly around with my script. Okay, like that. And like I say, I mean, I just always absolutely love a script stamp and think, you know, it always looks good, to be honest. And you can just be completely random, you know, where you're stamping. Okay, and we've got a bit of what they would call second generation stamping going on there. That's, you know, when you've kind of stamped it once and stamp it a second time without re-inking it. So yep, that looks pretty good. Okay, do I want to do anything else? No, I think that's probably it. So now I'm just going to spray a couple of bits of coffee dye on there as well. Now this is looking very dark. Again, it will probably dry, you know, much lighter than it's looking at the moment. So please don't be alarmed. I mean, I'm feeling quite alarmed myself, but, you know, please don't be alarmed. And I might just put some white on there as well. That will tone it down slightly. So let's just get the white in. Okay. I might just go over that a bit more with the coffee. Okay, right. Just kind of run that down a bit. And again, I'm just going to kind of fold the paper over a bit and, you know, smoosh it together so that I get a bit more of an overall overall pattern or overall covering. Yeah, overall coverage there. So yeah, I actually really like that piece, to be honest. I don't know how that looks on the camera. It probably looks terrible. But I actually really like it. So I'm going to put that one down to dry. And I'm just going to pull back in this blue one, which, yeah, I'm hating this, I must say. Absolutely just horrible. So I'm going to try and improve it. So I'm going to just squirt some of the white on here as well, which I'm hoping is going to kind of, you know, alter it a little bit. And I think what I'll do is I'm just going to spray some water on there as well. And then we'll just, again, kind of like smoosh that up a bit. And then I might even go in with a wipe, a dry wipe, and dab some of this off. So yeah, I might need to iron this one, to be honest. Right, let's just, oops, get myself a wipe that's dryish. Okay. Right, I mean, I'm not loving this at all, I have to say. I've, yeah, made quite a mess of this one, to be honest. But again, you know, who knows? By the time we use it, perhaps it will actually look okay. Yeah, maybe not. It might just stay looking absolutely horrible. I don't think I actually used the best colours on this in the end. Oh, I don't want to leave it now. I want to try and improve it. Let's go in with some gold. Okay. Yeah, let's try with some gold ink. Okay. Okay. Well, that's not looking so bad now. I mean, that ink is not particularly sort of staying on, if you see what I mean, because it's quite a wet, soggy piece of paper now. So I'm having to be quite extravagant to get it to go on. You know, probably in an ideal world, I would probably leave this to dry now before going around with the ink. But because I'm doing the video, I want to obviously try and salvage it as best I can, you know, through the video whilst I'm actually doing the video. So yeah, let's just kind of go for that like that. Okay. Okay, I mean, it's got a bit of a, you know, oh, the gold's just been sploshed on effect. Again, hopefully that would be much less visible by the time it's actually kind of torn down and used in pieces. Do you know, I'm now just thinking I'm just going to just splosh on a couple of bits of gold in some, yeah, some sploshes like that, and maybe even, yeah, might just kind of leave them to run a little bit, and perhaps we'll just go in with a bit more of the coffee. I'll be sorry in a minute because this is my last bit of coffee, like I say, and I really can't be bothered to go to the shop right now, so no more playing of this variety today. Just down to lack of now coffee. Yeah, I've used every single last drop now from there. Let me just spray on just a tiny bit of water. I haven't got any more blending solution either, so yeah, unfortunately I'm really kind of having to bodge this a lot, which, yeah, is definitely how not to craft in this video. So I do apologise for that. I'm just going to go in and put a couple more drips. Definitely, yeah, loving the gold. I'm going to end up with just a solid gold piece of paper in a minute with literally nothing else showing except for just solid gold. So perhaps I'd best stop now. Okay. Yeah, no longer pimping our coloured papers or our coffee dyed papers as it started, but just actually making solid gold coloured papers. Okay. Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't know how that's looking on the camera. It actually looks quite nice now in real life, so I hope that the camera's picking that up. So I'm going to call that a day for now, and I'm going to go off and dry my papers, and then hopefully we'll come back and we'll see kind of the effect, and we will make some bits with our paper. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, Barbara, for the awesome idea and inspiration, and hopefully see you guys soon. Thanks then. Bye.